So, hopefully our last fire sign prophecy, which is for our 460th attempt, but we had, I think, another 250 extensions to those attempts. I mean, one of the attempts lasted 2 years. So I think it's about 700 we've done of these, is for the 2NC Pentecost, coming in on Saturday, Sunday in 2 days' time. So we're actually predicting it from now, basically, which is Friday night, at the beginning of the 20th, which is the Sabbath, the 20th of Heshvan, to Heshvan 22, which would be the end of Sunday night. Monday night, actually, sorry. So from Friday night to Monday night. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So sunset Friday night, sunset today, which is, I don't know what it is, it's the 29th, to sunset of October, to sunset on Monday, November the 1st. Sunset Friday night, October the 29th, to sunset Monday night, the November the 1st, and the Pentecost is Saturday, Sunday, which is Heshvan 21, and that is 7 years measured in Pentecosts, 2NC Pentecosts, which happened on Heshvan 21, after we got installed over the 2NCs in Isaac Zoa, which was 2014, Tebeth 21, which was the late 2NC Pentecost, the third one, because it goes Heshvan, Chislev, Tebeth. So it's not 7 years in years, but it's 7 cycles, Pentecostal cycles. We're going from the third Pentecost in 2014 to the first Pentecost in 2021. And 2014 was when, on Sivan the 14th, the Zoa Passover, we were changed from being Abrahamic to Isaac, non-Adamic, and 2012, 2 years earlier, the end of the temple ratio prophecy period, which is the end of 6,000 years precisely of the working week of Adam, from a Pentecost in months after he sinned. So Adam sinned 3993 Nisan 14, and that started a monthly Pentecost system going, 50-month chunks, and so the first whole month of that was ER 3993, and then when you get 50 months after that, inclusively starting from ER, is Sivan 3929, 4 years later and 1 month forward. We're counting inclusively, it's 48 months in 4 years. So 3929 Sivan was the Jubilee, 50 months, it's a 50-month Jubilee system. It was the Jubilee, the first Jubilee, and that is when Adam was granted access to the tree of life and became a priest to mankind, and he works for God, him and his sons, his progeny, Adamic progeny, for 6,000 years, and that takes you to 2012 Sivan, precisely, AD, the 3929 Sivan was BC, and that's when you can't any longer work for God in a true church if you're Adamic. So you have to become non-Adamic. Now the other way to see it is a thing called the temple ratio prophecy of Emmanuel, who sent it to me, a Spanish brother. Well, Spanish-speaking brother anyway. Or was it Portuguese? I don't know. And he came up with a brilliant concept that since Jesus' flesh is the curtain, and since the curtain is a third of the way along the temple length, because the most holy is half the length of the holy. Then a third of the way into the 6,000 years is when Jesus died, and the 6,000 years began when Adam was born. This is not when he was a priest, but when he came into existence. And he was born in Tishri 2, which is 2 and first fruits, 4027 BC, because he sinned at 33.5 years old, the same age Jesus was when he paid for that sin, because it's a corresponding ransom. That was the understanding of Sharon, do I remember her surname, who was my girlfriend and a Jehovah's Witness when I was one. A brilliant understanding. That's the Holy Spirit, showing that women, if they're given a chance, can be just as good at interpreting the Bible actually as men, because he wrote it for both sexes, you know. He even wrote it for the transgenders. He wrote it for every sexual orientation, because he'll save all of us if we have faith or if we have love. And even if we don't, he'll eventually save us when we do find one or the other, which we will. A third of it, then we say, well, Jesus died 33 Nisan 14. Sorry, it's till not when Jesus died, it's till when Jesus was born. Jesus was born at the very Pentecost that is about to occur. He was born on Heshvan 21, while shepherds watch their flocks by night at the beginning of winter. Heshvan 21 in 2 BC. And there's 4,025 odd years, plus 50 days, from Tishri 2, which is 2 and first fruits, when Adam was born in 4027 BC, to 2 BC, Heshvan 21, when Jesus was born. Because Adam was first fruits, but the Pentecost is first ripe fruits, and Jesus was first ripe fruits, because he's the first human to be possessed by an angel who then became a god. So Adam is the beginning of wisdom, and Jesus is the end of wisdom, which is love. So then you say, okay, that's 2/3. So 2/3 of the period of being Adamic exclusively, because that temple is the temple of Adam. 2/3 of that, and 2/3 up here, is Jesus being born and appearing, his flesh. 2/3 is 4025 plus 50 years. So then we got to add 12.5 plus 25 days. And that takes you to, from Heshvan to ER21 is 2012.5, 2012. And then you add the 25 days to Heshvan 21, and you end up on Sivan 16. And on Sivan 16 we completed the journey from Sivan 14, the Zohar Passover in 2012. On Sivan 16 we became non-Adamic, but you initially, Abraham is our father. The way you become non-Adamic, it's not just like 1 minute you're Adamic, then you're non-Adamic, thank you very much, you live forever, you stop aging, everything's great, Eden is reversed. I wish it was, and I thought it was at the time. I thought, great, I'm non-Adamic, I won't any longer be ill, everything will be fantastic. Couldn't be more wrong. Got terrible diabetes, which I've now cured, thank God. Literally, he told me how to do it. I mean, he showed me how to do it. He didn't directly cure it. He showed me it was caused by a yeast overgrowth, and it can be cured with antifungals. I now can eat. I had terrible diabetes. My sugar was 414 milligrams per deciliter, and anything will pump my sugar up, including a glass of cold water. The reason for that is it gets the yeast going in the belly, It's caused by eating rotten food and then eating loads of sugar. So it's caused by mould, fungus, and I cured it with antifungals. First of all, prescription antifungals, itraconazole. Then I cured it with, and then it came back, and then I cured it with natural antifungals, curry spices basically. The Candaway tablets really good, cloves. Candex worked a little bit, and then but it doesn't completely fix it. You can take that the rest of your life, which is probably the plan. It does help a little bit when it's acute, but it doesn't fix it. The fix was the Candaway, which is basically cinnamon and some other stuff in the Candaway tablets, which are really, really good. And curcumin helped. Turmeric with black pepper. You've got to have it with black pepper, and don't take too much of it, just a little bit. You know, don't take more than 10,000 milligram equivalent of turmeric a day. I mean, I took 20 times more than that, and it didn't really help. Made it worse probably. The turmeric is 50-50. It kills just as many bacteria as it does fungus, so it does help a little bit, but not much. Cloves are very good. Anyway, I'm supposed to be talking about the Bible, sorry. So that's when so the way you become non-Adamic is that you step back through the covenants. So the covenants are Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. They were the patriarchs of Israel, and that stands for the patriarchs of the kingdom. And you first of all become a son of Abraham, and in order to do that you die to Adam on Sivan 14, or we did 2012, which was when Adam had to stop working for God at the end of his 6,000 years. 2012, Sivan 40, and then on the third day you finish a sort of genetic gene zap to become non-Adamic, Abrahamic, and then 2 years later you go from Abraham to Isaac and you become a son of Isaac. And then when you're born again angelically, you become a son of Jacob and you get given this angelic soul. We were already born again actually by then, but we've never been into that soul, so we've got no idea. Well, that's not true actually. We go into it every night when we sleep, but you dream in the angelic soul. Everybody watching this, everybody not watching this, every night when you dream, you cannot do that with a human brain. Human brain does at most, well, you can hear a 5 millisecond delay, so it is at most 200 hertz, a human brain. I don't know if it thinks at that speed, but you can hear that. But the eyes, as you know, they don't even, 24 frames per second looks continuous to us, so they can't be going at faster than 50 hertz, 40 hertz actually. So the brain for the eyes goes at less than 40 hertz, and for the ears goes at somewhere around 200 hertz. And you can't possibly shoot a movie in real time. You can't do it. To shoot a Toy Story, it took 22,000 computers and 100 men 18 months to make 90 minutes of film, right? And those computers were going at 4 gigahertz. Your brain can't possibly do that. A human brain can't shoot a movie. It can only screen a movie. At night, when you dream, your human brain is the cinema, screening the movie. Your angelic brain is shooting the movie in real time, making a digital movie like Toy Story in real time. Humans can't actually do that with 22,000 computers and 100 staff, but your brain does it every night. That is a cast iron proof that you have an angelic brain. And you're given, now you borrow one, you're given one by God, which isn't yours. You have you hire one from Moss Bros, from your suit retailer, for what your wedding suit retailer actually. You hire one every night. You're given one actually, which you don't own, but you hire it throughout your life, and you're backed up in that angel. So that if you get shot in the head, it does not matter at all. You're also in the angel. You are real-time backed up in the angel. So anyway, I've not yet been in that angel, and I don't know when I go into it. I mean, we understand we're going to an ark this weekend on the Pentecost to start off the church in the ark. Raise your heads up, says the scripture, into the ark. There's so many references to it. All the chariots also into the ark. This is the greater ark of Noah, which saves us from the greater flood of lava, which Peter refers to in his letters. Anyway, on 2014, we became non-Adamic Isaac, and that was the last trunk. No, that wasn't. Then we believe that at the Zoa Pentecost, we became Methuselayan, which some members of this church who are old find even more difficult to believe than becoming Isaac. Isaac people in an Abrahamic age at half speed, because Abraham and Isaac lived for 240 years max, rather than Moses, who lived for 120 years max. But Methuselah lived for 969 years, and he didn't die of old age. So he was actually, because the lifespan for man at that time was 960 years, 8 times the present one. And so good old Methuselah was actually non-Adamic and didn't age at all. So I believe that I've stopped aging, so there goes all my credibility. That may or may not be right, but it may be the case that you have to get into the ark before that occurs, I don't know. So the last time that I made a non-Adamic transition to become Isaac was 2014, because I don't think we lost our priesthood when we became Methuselayan, because we became indefinitely. We didn't change from finitely living non-Adamic to finitely living non-Adamic. We changed from finitely living non-Adamic to indefinitely living non-Adamic. And by finitely living, I mean with a maximum. We changed from a maximum lifespan of 180 to no maximum lifespan. Although it's not everlasting life, because humans can die. Angels cannot die unless God kills them. Humans can die without God killing them, even if they're not aging, because you can be run over by a bus or fall off a cliff or get a terrible cold or something. I mean, my problem is, did we lose our priesthood when we became Methuselayan? Because that would mean... I don't know the answer to that. Anyway, we certainly lost it in 2014 when we changed from Abrahamic to Isaac. I think we also should have lost it if we did become Methuselayan on at the Pentecost on Ab 5, 2021. Interesting concept. Anyway, 7 years after we became Isaac, in Pentecostal terms, is tomorrow sunset to Sunday sunset, and that's the 2NC Pentecost. And that's when, and now the scripture says that it was in booths that I shall have my people dwell, or that I made my people dwell, in bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt. That's Leviticus 23, 43 I think, or something. And so we come out of this world into the ark during booths. The sons of Israel do, and the sons of Israel are the sons of Jacob, the saints, and the saints are the 2NCs, and we should do that up to the 2NC Pentecost, which should kickstart the church, just as the 1NC Pentecost in 33 Civ M5 kickstarted the first Christian church. The 2NC Pentecost on 2021-21, the day Jesus was born, but 2022 years later, because there's no 0 BC. That day is when we kickstart this church from the ark. There's a wonderful scripture in Beth Zatho, John 5, which refers to Jerusalem's plural in the Greek. I mean, it can be neuter in the Greek, it can be a Hebrew, a Hellenization of the Hebrew in the Greek, or it can be plural. This one is plural. The reason is there's 2 Jerusalems now. There's the one in the ark and the one down here. two mountains there were in Jerusalem, Mount Moriah and Mount Zion. And Zion's going to be in the ark and Moriah down here for a while. So we go into the ark tomorrow, and if I'm not mistaken, which I often am, the rest of the two NCs are already up there, because the captain leaves the ship last, unlike what happened in Afghanistan, where the captain left first, which is a despicable dereliction of duty, and will go entirely without punishment by a totally lawless government and military. So the greater exodus from Kabul, from the world into the ark, is about to occur. And the fire signs, Jesus will come on the clouds. And Jesus said, we will come on the clouds. The clouds are these two fire signs, which are occurring this weekend, basically, or Monday. And he comes to the church at the Pentecost, because he's in the ark anyway. And Paul said that we the living who survive until his presence, will be caught away in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And that happens this weekend. He's in the air because he's in the ark. He's not just floating there because he's got wings. I mean, he has got wings in the sense that he's an angel. But, when he rose up in front of the men of Galilee in Acts 1, it was into the ark. We much look forward to that. This ark, this is how Satan used to run the planet. Because he took Jesus up to a mountain that was unusually high, and he showed him all the kingdoms of the world in an instant of time. You can't do that from any mountain on Earth. That is a spy satellite. That is something in geostationary orbit, or something like that, which can see all around the planet. So it's a little bit, it's like Elon Musk's Starlink net. And God has total visibility of all of mankind, and the best way we can see that technologically is a bunch of nodes all around the planet, seeing everything going on with incredible focus that can see through walls or something. So we get that bird's eye view when the cover comes off the ark, because the ark in the temple had a cover, and all these arks relate to one another. He had a cover, and Aaron would go in on Heshvan 10 or Tishri 10, Atonement Day or Late Atonement Day, and he would put the blood 7 times before the altar, and he would stand in front of the cover, and he'd see the cloud appear above the ark, and cover, above the ark, cover. And the greater fulfillment of that, we understand, is that the two entities all went into this new religion that was formed on Ab 14, which was the first crop of the free life of Revelation 22. It crops 12 times to Thames 14 to 16, 2022, because it yields its crops every month for 12 months. The two entities joined that church, and I don't understand what that church is. I don't think it's a real church in any sense we'd understand it today. I think it's just angels appearing to people and saying, hey, you're in a church, something like that. Because I don't think they hold meetings in a building of bricks, especially as you can't really do that these days. But there is, we think now, this Tree of Life church, and we think that the two NCs were recruited into that church on Heshvan 10, because that was the Jubilee release. The Battle of Jericho is in Nisan 1 years from 2015 Nisan 1, the first whole sacred year after Isaiah Zohar came into existence in 2014, Sivan 14 to 16, and then we got installed in Tebet 21, the third 20 Pentecost, from which we count the 7 times of 1 Kings 18 go back 7 times, 1 Kings 18:43. If you count 7 years from, and then Jericho you go around 6 times, which is 6 years, and then the 7th year, which began Nisan 1, 2021, you go around 7 times, which is 7 months. It takes you to Tishri 30, and then the Jubilee release is the 8th month, because the 7 months occur in a manufactured Sabbath, so there's 7 Sabbaths, and the Jubilee is the month after the 7th Sabbath. So the 50th month of some kind of a jubilee defined by the circumnavigations of Jericho is Heshvan 2021, and the jubilee releases on the 10th day of the month, and it's on an atonement day always, actually. Well, it is when it's annual. And so the late atonement day this year. So they were released, but they didn't come into this church, and they didn't go into the ark. So, because you got up into the ark during booths, they went up on the 15th to the 18th. They're all up there now, the two entities. So they must have gone into this new Tree of Life church. So many invisible churches that we can't prove exist. So they invisibly went into an invisible church that we can't prove exists, and then they went into an invisible ark that we can't prove exists, and we expect to join them in this invisible ark tomorrow. But that's actually the essence of faith and spirituality, that you see with your mind what you cannot see with your eyes. Paul said the evident demonstration of realities though not beheld is what faith is, and we do not behold. No one beheld Laodicea, a hidden church of the night. Nobody beheld 1NC Zoa. Nobody beholds other people in it. Nobody beholds externally this new Tree of Life church, and nobody beholds the ark. Even when the cover is taken off the ark, which happens when we get up there on the 21st, so that we can see, that is to stop, to enable us, it's like taking the cover off the telescope or the camera or the binoculars. That enables the people in the ark to see the earth. It doesn't enable people on the earth to see the ark, with short circuit faith testing. Although that day I think eventually does come. So that's the exciting agenda for this weekend, as we understand it. And for the chronological details of that, and the mark of the beast and everything, have a look at truebiblecode.com. The page that I update the most frequently, that has the latest chronology always first, is understanding 271-11.html. So have a good weekend, and may God save you into the ark. Incidentally, when Jesus says pray that your flight may not occur in winter, nor on the Sabbath, he's praying that your flight occurs not in Greek winter, because that was in the Greek scriptures in Matthew 24. Greek winter begins around about Tebet 22. So he's saying, pray you get into the ark. 50% of mankind gets into the ark. And the reason he says pray is you don't really choose to go into the ark. You're chosen by God for the ark. And you're chosen by God if you obey his first law, which is that thou shalt not have any other gods before my face, and or that thou shalt love me with whole soul, whole mind, whole strength, and whole spirit. So if you have faith in God, whether you be Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Zoroastrian, any religion, I'm not sure that the Church of the Holy Nuclear Bomb in Los Angeles or of the Bacon really works, but if you have, if you aren't in any church but you have faith in God, then you will be among the 50% of mankind saved into the ark. And if you don't have faith in God, but you have love for your brother, or if you have insufficient faith in God to be saved, but nonetheless have sufficient love for your brother, you will be saved, but not into the ark, but into the kingdom. And you will be saved by dying and being resurrected into another hidden church on earth, and protected via a shield throughout the Great Tribulation, and throughout the lava flood, and throughout World War III, which we now predict begins on Heshvan 29 and lasts for 7 months, the 7 times of the fiery furnace of Daniel 3, and it ends on ER 29, which is when the beast is caught. The beast being, well, have a look at understanding 271-11.html, and you'll see it all clearly there. Thanks very much.